All right, welcome, everybody. Episode 3, and this is one that is not only perfect timing, but Chris and I have both been looking forward to. Our most recent guest on the Legacy Lounge with Chris and Rene is Raymond James Irwin. What an amazing guy. I couldn't wait until you got onto this mic.
I'm stoked. It's so great to be here. Thanks, guys.
Yes. Awesome. Well, hey, we were looking forward to having you here. We go back a little bit. Yeah. I can't wait to dive into that. But we always kind of start going backwards first so you can give a little background on who you are, where you came from, your upbringing, and what has got you to this point. Give us the Cliff Notes version. I'd love for you to go backwards first.
Yeah, it's a mother fizzing story. You know, very. I like that one, Chris.
That's right.
Very blessed to be from Sacramento. Mm-hmm. Very grateful to be local kid. I like to just say I'm a kid from Fair Oaks. You know, so grew up in Fair Oaks. Went to Jesuit High School. Very grateful for my time there. Great education. Highly recommend it to anyone that has boys to go there. And the funny thing is, here we are in a champagne revolution, champagne campaign. That's kind of my life these days. Yes. But I like to say I went from opera singing to champagne slinging.
Wow.
So my degree was in opera. So I went away to conservatory. And in high school, it was either like, okay, Raymond James, are we going to do law and then politics, which is kind of what my mom did? Or are we going to go into opera? Very two different yes. worlds.
Just a little bit.
And it was kind of hard because I loved both, but something that I really believed in, and I would tell everyone to this day, young and old, follow your dream first. Because you know what? You can always go back.
Yeah.
But it's a lot harder to relive your dream and go for your dream a lot later when you have so many more responsibilities. And so for me, it was very much like, no, I'm going to follow my dream because I'll regret it for the rest of my life. And I really believe people will always regret if they don't do it.
I love that.
I can relate to that because my dream growing up was to be a rapper.
Right.
And I ended up becoming a realtor, which is not quite
close.
It was
close. Right, realtor, rapper. Maybe the rap and realtor. If that Instagram's not taken, Chris, I think that's
okay.
I like
that one.
I like it.
And so I decided opera. Okay, so obviously different schools, and so I was flying out like every Friday to go to different conservatories around the country. I was flying to New York, flying to Boston, flying to Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts, flying to Cleveland, flying to Texas. I was flying all over the country. Auditioning, because that's
how
what you have
old
to
were
do.
You at this time?
17.
All right.
So I was 17, auditioning all of these places. I was gone so many Fridays, missing like a class, that I was put on academic probation, not because I didn't have good grades, but because if you miss an X amount of classes.
That's right.
So I'd have to like go get signed off from my teachers every week, and they'd be like, "Why the fizz are you doing this? You had an A." And I'm like, ask the administration. So Jesuit, that's one thing you can change.
There it is.
But anyway, so I was flying and auditioning, super cool around the country, sometimes by myself. Sometimes my mom would come. I mean, it'd be really, really cool. And then I got into several of them, and I chose on Cleveland Institute of Music in Cleveland, Ohio. Freaking love Cleveland. Amazing.
Yeah.
Great place for real estate. I'm looking at it myself. Like, it's a great place.
Love it.
To get involved, get multifamily units. Anyway, so went to Cleveland. I worked at a great restaurant in Cleveland, like the top restaurant in Cleveland. It's called L'Albatross. It's a French brasserie. It was right next door to my school. It was crazy. My school was on this street. The next street was L'Albatross. The next street was my house. So it was very easy. Life was easy.
As I'm tracking, how old were you at this time again?
I'm now 18.
18, okay. Got it.
Now 18. And so then I'm working at this top restaurant. I'm working from the bottom up, and I love it because I love people.
Yes.
And I get energized by people interaction and just learning. I just always was loved learning. Didn't matter what it was. And I had been exposed to good wine in high school. A girl that I dated, her family had a great cellar, so I was learning about good wine at like 16, which is pretty cool. So it was awesome to be in this environment with an advanced somm as my general manager, learning from him. But at the end of the day, I was like, okay, this is really cool, but I'm starting to be a famous opera singer, right? That was the goal. That was the dream. And so I graduated. I had worked there now for 4 years and loved it. But I then went to Europe. And so I went to France, I went to Italy, I went to French Canada singing. And I was invited to sing with different festivals, different orchestras, different companies. And I mean, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible, but it was isolating. You wouldn't think that. But if you're at this degree, this level, you are in a practice room for like 8 hours a day, doing score settings, coachings, lessons, rehearsals, blockings, everything. And then you finish by doing, especially in Italy, you start a concert at 8 p.m. and you're done at midnight. I mean, I'd be going on singing at 11 o'clock at night. I'm just like shoveling pasta in my mouth in between scenes to keep up the energy. And I mean, it's just crazy. You couldn't go out and like drink or like be loud. Like all of your energy was going to that. So it wasn't very fun, you know?
Wow.
And I remember I did this one incredible festival in Siena. Siena's in Tuscany, and they're famous for this horse race. It's called the Palio. If you ever get a chance to go to the Palio, it's in August. It's unbelievable. But I'm there for a month and a half. I got 2 days off.
Oh.
One of them was at least for the Palio, but it was only 2 days off out of like 35 days. Wow. The others, I was going from 8 a.m. until midnight pretty much every day.
Oh my goodness.
It was crazy. And so I got burnt out. I just didn't like it. And so I was like, I got to come back to California. I got to take a break, decide, do I want to keep that going? Do I want to go get my master's in music? What the Fizz do I want to do?
Yeah.
And I come back. On my way back, I'm going through Chicago. I'd never been to Chicago. And I see this, I'm looking for a place to grab a drink. And at this point, I loved champagne, but I was like a closeted champagne lover. It was kind of like, you can like champagne, but you don't like really tell people that's your favorite, or like you only have it a couple times a year, those big special occasions. Otherwise, it has to be, you know, red wine or a cocktail or beer, but like champagne's not like the real thing you can just enjoy. So I'm looking at a place to grab a drink, and I see the champagne bar pop up called Pops, and we're now in 2014. And so I'm like, man, a champagne bar, that sounds freaking cool. And so I go, mesmerized, transfixed, hundreds of champagnes on the wall.
Wow.
And I'd never seen that. I mean, I didn't know. And it was like, you know, Garden of Fizzdom. My eyes were open, and I'm like, wow, it's a whole new fizzing world. And so I'm just, all I could afford was like a half glass of champagne. And so I ordered my half glass, sat at the bar, and sat there for 3 hours, just soaking it all up. And I noticed, like, because I'd always been to the business side, and I noticed every age group, every demo, everyone was popping multiple bottles, multiple glasses. I'm like, this is wild. And so I was there for 3 days, and I went every day, and I'd sit there for 3 hours, and I loved it, half glass of champagne. And then I came back to SAC, took some time off. I was doing teaching, like I had like 12 different voice students that I was giving lessons to privately in my home, and then I was doing like interning, doing some marketing, but this idea of a champagne bar stuck with me, and it stuck with me and stuck with me, and then though I end up, which is a whole other story for another time, but I ended up running Sacramento Philharmonic and Opera's marketing communications, and I did that for 3 years, and I loved it because I loved the business side of the arts world because I got it, and it's very rare what I've seen at conservatory and in other like nonprofit arts worlds that someone gets both the music side and the business side, because they either come from one or the other background generally, and then they just kind of transition, but it wasn't really a gift that they had given or that they really learned. I spoke both, and I was really confident on that. And so I came in Sac Phil Opera. I did some really, really cool things, initiatives. But again, that idea stuck with me. And so I did this leadership program called the Nehemiah Emerging Leaders Program. Highly recommend anyone do it. It's
exactly
incredible.
What you're talking about.
So many amazing people that should be on this podcast have gone through it. It's the leaders of our region really have gone through NELP. And so I was the youngest person to ever get accepted in NELP. It was an amazing year-long program. But in it just started helping me uncover like what I really wanted to do, who I really was, what my life was really about. And so I became good friends with the person who's now the president of the chamber, who's been there now for 6 years, Amanda Blackwood. She has been a really good friend from the beginning. And she said to me, we'd meet for coffee like once a week. She said, Raymond James, you talk about doing Fizz all the time. Stop talking about it and do it. Oh. And it's amazing how just that phrase, that sentence, just hit, and I was like, holy Fizz, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, I talk about it, because I would talk about it. I was talking about it all the time. I was like, yeah, I want to do a champagne bar. Yeah, I want to do a champagne bar. She was like, stop talking about it and do it. And that was July 2016.
Man.
And I was like, you're right. And so for me, we've all kind of talked a little bit about it, offline, but for me, my faith is the number one thing about me. My faith is the most important thing of who I am. It guides every single thing that I do. And so once I decided in July that I wanted to do it at Old Soul in the Alley Coffee House, I said, okay, God, I want to do this. Do you have this for me? Is this your will for me? It's in my heart, but is this your will for me? And so I was very big on, I need to discern this. And so I didn't make a move. I was doing everything I was currently doing. I didn't change anything, but every day I was just praying and praying and praying and praying. And like, God, is this your will? Is this your will? I really want to do this. Is this your will? And so after 3 months of like praying, so it was now, I guess, like October, late September, every door that I was currently doing, every door that I could have done of other things that I was thinking about, because I'm an ideas guy, I love thinking all these things, everything in 1 week boom, boom, boom. Every door shut. Everything.
Wow.
Everything. And the only thing that was pointing was to Fizz.
Wow.
And I was like, no friggin' way. And so I was like, okay, God, I believe this is of you, from you, for you. And so I took that. I went that night and I bought a plane ticket to go to Champagne, France for the following week.
Wow.
Let's
And
go.
Wow.
and I spent a month there knocking on doors. Literally, I would just knock on doors. I mean, I was researching every night, like different houses, different growers, different producers, people to meet. And I would just knock on doors. And I visited 4 champagne houses a day, over 40 champagne houses in a month that I spent there. And, again, I speak French fluently, and that came from studying opera. Again, like a whole God thing of how I could do it. Like it was like everything I did prepared me to do what I'm doing now and what I was about to do. And so I went, and it was just the most unreal experience. And for me, a lot of people, they say they want to do something, especially in wine. They read a lot of books. They get their, SOM certification then, but they don't go. And I don't care what certification you have in anything. Until you really go and experience, right? You're not going to learn. Until you go and you're like in the vineyards, you're in the vines, you're seeing the soil, you're talking to the winemakers, the owners, all that stuff, you're never going to really understand it.
Man.
And so for me, it was so important that I did that. And I came back, got a business plan, and then Fizz opened. Again, I went October 2016. Fizz opened October 2018.
Yes, it did.
And here we are.
Goodness.
Here we are, getting ready to open our second location in Walnut Creek.
Goodness.
It's crazy. What the Fizz?
What a story.
I know that was long, but that really was the cliff notes.
No,
I promise you.
hey, I like every bit of that, and we got to touch on a ton of that. So you opened in 2018. I also have a blast from the past from 2018. Matter of fact,
Holy Fizz.
we'll put that right there.
Look at that stud on the
July
top.
of 2018,
Yeah.
Comstock Magazine brought you and I together. We were in the entrepreneur issue, and I'm sure you haven't thought about it in a while, but look at this stud right there,
Oh my gosh.
right there, and I'm just fascinated by it. In big bold letters, it states, "An entrepreneur is a risk taker. They're not afraid to sacrifice everything for their dream."
Yeah.
What did you lead off with? What to go after your dream? That's what you led off with.
Yeah.
That's what you put in this is a big one. I mean, hearing that is what your mantra was going into right before you opened. What does that make you feel?
I mean, it makes me feel, even looking back, excited, because I think the unknown is such an exciting place to be. You can look at it in the negative, like it can be scary, sure, but I look at it as what's possible. What's the possibility? And for me, you have to throw it all down to realize what you want. And that's something that I've never stopped doing.
Absolutely amazing. I think there was 20 plus entrepreneurs in this.
Yeah.
I believe you were the youngest one at the time. I'm pretty certain that was the case.
Yeah, probably.
And when you were dreaming of Fizz and what it was going to be, did you believe it was going to be in the heart of just a revitalized downtown? Is that where the dreams were? What did you think was going to happen?
It's funny. My dream has always been the same thing. It's only gotten bigger. It's always been about creating a champagne revolution. The first thing to work at Fizz, you have to get memorized in the core of who you are, is our mission statement, which is to create a champagne sparkling wine revolution in the greater Sacramento region and beyond. That's always been the mission. That's always been the goal, and it's continued to be that. And, I chose Doko because, I thought, like, this is really cool. This is a great space. Obviously, the Kings weren't quite where they are now.
Yes,
so,
yes.
you didn't really know for sure what you were going to get. But I thought, we are a unique destination bar. We need to be in a destination place.
Yep.
So grateful I made that choice.
Amazing.
And it's just continued to be bigger and better and everything that I've continued to add on. As an entrepreneur, you always have to stay in your lane. Don't change the vision, but grow that vision. Think greater. What can this vision become? And so that's something that I've continued to do. I've continued to add different offerings. And I'm not just talking about different glasses of champagne. I'm talking about experiences. I've taken 4 groups of people to Champagne, France.
Yeah.
Right?
Amazing.
I didn't have no other Fizz and Company do that for us. It was Fizz that, we created every detail. We're now sold out of our champagne trips through 2025.
Oh my goodness.
And then we are doing South Africa in 2024, sold out. and I have 4 or 5 spots left for Northern Italy of 2025. It's fizzing crazy. It's crazy. But like now,
I have to plan for
dude,
this.
You do.
Oh my goodness.
And what's crazy is like now all of our team, I've got them on this vision because as you know, when you are the leaders, you are the visionaries, you are the chief dream makers, right? And so you have to show the vision for your team and get them to be bought into it. And so now the vision is, we're doing this, no, but soon we're going to do trips where we go to Champagne, but we're having a private jet. And we're making it even more because we're renting chateaus and we're bringing the top 1% on this. And it is the best champagne experience, not in the city, not in the state, not in the country, but in the world. And so I'm believing for that. And I know it's going to happen.
Oh, unreal.
It's exciting. I get so excited thinking about it.
Unreal. Chris, when I talk about this guy, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying now?
I'm soaking it all in. I mean, one of the things that you can just sense that is just, it's, something that I can see that I can relate with is just your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Man.
You know what I mean? When you're passionate about something, obviously it does not feel like work.
Right.
And I just applaud you just because, being born and raised, I'm a 4th generation Sacramentan.
Wow.
Rene's not too far away from Oakland, but from being from Sacramento, and I think you can maybe attest to this. We've always just been kind of known as more of the sleepy city. You know what I mean? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely applaud you, and it's inspirational just to hear the story because even what you were doing before you started this, a lot of people couldn't say that say the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I always preach is just get out and travel.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. Get out and travel, meet some people. Try to speak the language of where you're at. Go and I'm like always still in cliff notes from Anthony Bourdain, who's one of my favorite people. He's just like sit at a bar, eat some oysters, and talk to a stranger. And I'm picking up a lot of that inspiration from listening to the background of your story. So I'm curious to know I don't know if we can get on to some of the bubble talk yet.
Let's definitely. Can we actually start with bubbles before the bubble talk?
Absolutely. So we were at Fizz on Friday.
That's right.
For
Fizz Friday.
Fizz Friday.
You're having a Fizz Friday.
That's right.
As we do.
So myself, Rene, and my girlfriend, and I told you before this podcast started that you can't make this up, that we're doing this podcast with you today. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'll be on an airplane flying to France.
Love it.
Specifically Paris. And then on Friday, we'll wake up at 8 in the morning and we'll jump on a train to Champagne.
I know the train you're taking. I know how long it takes. I know where you're going. I know the whole shebang.
I'm going to get your number and I'm going to put it in my
absolutely.
phone.
You should. You really should.
Yeah, because when we went to Fizz, it was funny. We had mentioned it and they were like, "Oh, have you talked to Raymond about this yet?"
We will on Monday.
But no, we were at Fizz Friday. Rene wanted to do a couple things. He wanted to pick out one of your favorite bottles. I forget the name of your employee, but she had mentioned, she just was like, "Oh, you got to grab these."
Oh, did she? Yeah, Diane. Was it Diana or Kathleen?
Yep. So brown skin.
Yeah, Diana. Yeah. She's great.
So first and foremost, as Rene is going to pop these open, so this is Krug.
Yes.
What do you have to tell us about Krug and the lineage?
It's a very special. Actually, you know what? We've never talked about this, Rene, but you'll love how this kind of loops into you with this bottle.
Right.
But
okay.
So Krug is a champagne house that was founded in the 1840s. It was founded by a German immigrant, Herr Krug. And what was amazing about him was he was the cellar master winemaker for a champagne house before this. That was even older. That was founded in 1798. Do you know the name of that champagne house?
Oh, Jackson.
Jackson. He was
Jackson.
the champagne founder of Jackson, which is which
Wow.
Rene always gets. And
I definitely do.
And so it being your last name. And so it's really funny. I never put that together with
Incredible.
us. But that's really crazy.
There's two places that I bust his chops. Now I totally get it. He's married. He's got 3 kids. He's part of a mortgage company. He's busy. But there's 2 places that he has to go to. I think we should hold him accountable by next year. One of them is New Orleans, right?
That's
Because your bloodline's from New Orleans,
right.
and then the second one is France. So
You gotta come. No, you need to come You need to get in on our next trip. You and your wife, and I will make sure we go to Jackson and have
Oh
such
my
a special
goodness.
thing.
Oh,
Serious.
don't threaten me
You
with
might
a
meet
good
some.
time.
Right?
You might meet some family members.
I
Right?
probably will. Before I open, I just want to make sure I don't know what I'm doing that much when it comes to it. I've popped a lot of bottles, but I don't want to do it incorrectly. Do you have a little tutorial? Would you
Yes.
like to make sure that I
Yes.
don't mess this beautiful
Yes.
bottle up?
Well, you've already fizzed
I've already
up a
messed
little
it-
bit, but
Oh, I
it's
knew
know
it
what?
when I
As
was
we all
doing it.
know, you can always be saved. It's never too late.
Okay.
So we can turn this right around.
All right.
So you need to put your thumb on the top
Okay.
and put your non-dominant hand on the top.
Okay. That's
Oh,
what I got.
okay,
I'm
good.
all
Your
right.
lefty. Okay,
Yes.
yes. So you're gonna twist from the bottom. Twist from the bottom. Don't twist from the top. Just slowly twist from the bottom and use your deltoid, your bicep, like you're keeping it in there.
Oh, okay.
So are you feeling
Yeah,
the
I'm-
cork
I'm-
move a
yes,
little bit?
it's
But
about-
keep it like you're keeping it in there. Silent, silent, silent.
What's the purpose of that?
To keep the bubbles in.
Okay.
That was pretty good. Look at that.
Wow.
You want it as quiet as possible because the louder it is, the more CO2, the more of those bubbles, the gas is escaping.
So real quick, when you see this, I literally feel like an idiot now.
No, you don't know.
So when
Why
you
with
see
the fizz would you know?
when you see people with the bottle and they're just putting their thumb towards the bottom of that cork, just trying to pop it, that's like complete.
Totally effed up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's real fizz
What's your
stuff.
take on when people are sabering champagne bottles?
Love sabering. I love sabering. I think sabering is so much fun. So thank you, sir. So I do a whole, like, again, another offering that I did, and I started that during COVID, was private in-home champagne tastings.
Oh wow.
And so I will come to someone's home, anyone's home or an office or whatever, and I will bring bottles, bring the right glassware that we have here, bring a saber, and I'll teach people how to sable, how to pour, how to pop, all the things. And yeah, no, sabering's good. Now don't tilt that, Rene. Don't tilt. Straight
Geez.
down the center.
Straight
because
down the
that is
center.
killing the bubbles too. We can't kill those precious
my
things. They
goodness.
were created for you, okay?
Another thing,
Beautiful.
I had some friends over on Friday night,
Oh,
and my buddy, actually James Shelby, who
yes,
you know
James, of
Shelby,
course. He was a Noper too. He's a Noper.
Let's
Yes.
go.
He's an investor in Fizz.
I knew that. You
Shout
didn't
out-
know that?
I did not know that.
That
Me
is
and
crazy.
James have talked about it before.
Great
so.
guy.
So
He's
s-
been a great supporter
So
too.
when he opened up the bottle, his first thing was, do you have a kitchen towel? And I'm like, why do you
You
need
put
it?
the serviette on top. Yep.
Okay.
Amazing.
I'm learning.
Can we cheers here?
Cheers,
Cheers.
gentlemen.
All right.
So let me tell you about this as you're
Please,
smelling it. Don't
please
drink
do.
it yet.
Oh, don't do it.
Okay, you had the little sip, but let me tell you. So this is Krug 189th edition, meaning they've made 189 years of this blend, but it's always different. What makes Krug unique is they change their blend everything every year to accommodate and create the best champagne. So this is a blend of 195 different wines
Whoa.
that were all vinified separately. So turned into wine, all separately. They were all put into separate barrels. So 195 different barrels, all barrel fermented and then aged. And then the winemaker, he goes, taste, all 195, and then blends them. And this is from the years, and all those 195 are from the years 1998 through 2014. All of those years.
Wow.
And so he blends it, then puts it in those beautiful bottles there, and ages it another 7 years
Oh my
on the lees
goodness.
in Champagne. I mean, it's in the cellars, and I've been there. I mean, it's just mind blowing to see all of this reserve wine, old wines that they bottle, and so it makes for the most, I believe, truly delicious, complex champagne. And I think there is personally no better champagne. This is my goal, to have a bottle of Krug every day. That's
Oh
my goal.
my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the main thing when I went there. I said, what do you want? And that's why I'm just waiting to listen for it. So when you say it,
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
When you smell that, I mean, it's so complex. Caramel, butterscotch, toast, lemon, citrus, apple.
I think we got to give the Filipinos a little bit of a taste of this.
Oh yeah. That's why I didn't forget them today. So I'm gonna.
This is such good champagne. It's just,
goodness, you guys.
Oh my word.
isn't that right?
That is
People who don't know what champagne should be, I always say they should taste Krug so they know, no, champagne is phenomenal.
This is exactly what you just described to. I'm getting like just like buttery toast, the
Yeah.
caramel.
It's so good. But then this great minerality on the finish, right?
Yeah.
Really good minerality, some really nice citrus, and yeah, it's just happy. It's so fizzing good every day.
This is phenomenal.
Unreal. We have the Fizz glasses. We definitely got those. I had to make sure that it was
These
there,
are the
but
best glasses.
man, I told
And you
I
know
was
why? You know why we don't do flutes? You know flutes are dead.
So I didn't.
Long live
Please
the
tell
tulip.
me. I
100% because you got to let this beautiful stuff, especially with what you just said, 1998, 2014.
It's crazy.
Then they let it sit. I mean,
it's crazy. You need to get the aromas. A flute is so thin, right? I mean, the surface area, the volume, you can't smell anything. There's nothing to go. And so you need to be able to get your nose in
there. It is.
You need to be able to smell it because 75% of what you taste comes from what you smell. So if you're tasting something really good, you need to be able to smell it, or else you're losing so much, which is why Fizz never uses flutes. We always use tulips or even a white wine glass, all-purpose glass. I would rather use that than a flute.
Done. Throwing them all
Right?
away
Throw
at
them
the
away.
house.
This is
Done.
incredible.
Isn't that
insane.
so awesome? I know.
So now go ahead and start your
Now
bubbles talk. Now
let's get busy
ready.
with it, Chris. Let's go.
Well, I brought my phone because I wanted to say we went to your place on Friday.
Yep.
Got to drink some good bubbles.
Yep.
It was amazing. Picked out your favorite bottle, and then Rene, I guess, hadn't picked up some of his allocation for a while, so I was the lucky beneficiary of a couple bottles.
Lucky you.
And we drank one of them, and I took a picture of it. I just want to show this to you.
You had a lot of bottles.
I did.
To pick up.
I did.
Oh, the Jean Dio. Yeah,
And
it's so great.
it was
It's great
phenomenal.
champagne.
And so this is going to lead to my story of how I kind of fell in love with champagne. We're good friends with the gentleman that I told you about earlier, Marcus Marquez.
Right.
Big time entrepreneur, runs Brasswood Winery, big champagne guy. But he introduced me to a guy named John Ochoa. And at the time, I was not really drinking a lot of champagne. It was more wine driven.
Yeah. And
John goes, I'm going to bring one of my favorite bottles. Just sit here and I'll be right back. And he brings out a bottle of Michel Gonnet.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I know Sophie Gonnet very well. Wow. I know the family very well.
So brings out a bottle of Michel Gonnet, and I was like, oh my word, this is amazing. So it was specifically a Blanc de Blancs.
Yep.
And the thing that I loved about it was I just loved that, if I were to say like just that green apple.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done. Yeah.
Just the sweetness. And so ever since then, it was the running joke with John is he's like, unless it's from France, don't even give it to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious to know from you, because I know that you're carrying a wide selection.
Yeah.
You mentioned Italy. You mentioned South Africa.
South Africa.
Right.
England.
I have a two-part question for you. So part one is, will you drink bubbles from California? Let's start there.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's first really important that everybody should know is that there's great fizz being produced everywhere. There's great fizz. The thing is, what we have to also note of that, the second part to that is, it will never be champagne. It will never taste like champagne. It will never have what champagne has. Not because it's inferior. It's not inferior. It's just champagne sits on a bedrock of chalk and has so many rules and the specific grapes they have to use that you can't ever duplicate it. You can have incredible sparkling, but it's never going to be the same. So like I was just with my new team for Walnut Creek. They've been doing lots of training and testing, and they passed finally. And so I rewarded them with a day in Napa. And so I'm good friends with the CEO of Domaine Carneros, and I sent her a text, and I'm like, Remy, can I bring the team on Friday and you walk them through? Man. And she said, absolutely. And so we get there, and we go through the entire thing. They bring out special bottles. We're with her. It's a really cool experience, and and it's great. The thing is, I tell them, I said, how you always know a California sparkling versus champagne specifically is that when you smell it and when you taste it, you get fruit first, then minerality. Champagne, you get minerality, then you get fruit.
Wow.
Always.
Wow.
And so Domaine Carneros is great sparkling wine. It's great sparkling wine. Schramsberg, Hugh Davies, I love that guy. I love that family. They make beautiful sparkling wine, both totally different styles. There's great sparkling wine all over. South Africa makes amazing sparkling wine. But personally, for me, my preference will always be true champagne. I think there's, at the end of the day, again, a style and a level of complexity and minerality that can never be duplicated in champagne. So I will personally always try and always prefer to drink that. But like in one of my club levels, the connoisseur, you get sparkling wine, but it's incredible sparkling wine. I mean, I go at lengths to pick the best sparkling wine you've never heard of from really, really, really cool places. So I want people to discover that there is great sparkling wine. And honestly, a lot of people actually do prefer the sparkling over the champagne because some people, it's too complex. Champagne can be too complex. And so it's preference.
Wow.
My preference, though, is champagne.
Wow.
And I appreciate that because like it's like coffee, for example. There's people
100%.
There's people that are just A-okay with give me a couple Folgers, right?
Best part of waking up. All right, all right, Chris.
That's right.
Come on.
I know that we're dressed. You're dressed to the nines, by the way. You look great.
It's very kind. Thank you.
And so this next comment out of my mouth won't make a lot of sense, but I have been pegged of being, you're bougie. You're too fancy, but I just think life is too short, right?
100%.
Not to eat the best stuff, drink the best stuff. Right. And so I bring up coffee just because I think it's almost comparable.
100%.
You know, not saying that, you know, on a hot sunny day I won't enjoy a Coors Light, but you know, we're taking off to Paris tomorrow, and it's literally, this has been something that I've been dreaming of over the past 2 to 3 years. So I'm super excited. Want to tell you the 3 champagne houses we're going to, and I just want you to know if you're familiar with them, which I'm sure you are. And then
I hope you stump me though. I would love it.
That would be great.
People think like they can't ask me stuff or whatever, and I'm not infallible. I am not the person who created me. I'm not God. So I hope I have stuff to still learn. I never want to know everything. I mean, I'm learning every day.
So I don't think I'm going to stump you for one reason. I think all of these places Fizz is following.
Oh, that's that's funny. If Fizz follows and I don't know, that's a problem.
That is.
That's a Fizz problem.
So the first one we're going to, I think we're going to just out of just like this,
because it's
this historic.
I get it.
And we're going to Moet and Chandon.
Okay.
So have you been to that champagne house?
Kinda.
Okay.
So
should we make a pivot?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, this is good.
I love
this
this
thing. So a lot of people don't realize this. So Dom Perignon, which is a prestige champagne like Krug, they call it a tête de cuvée, top of the cuvée, top of the blend, is owned by Moet. A lot of people don't know that. It's the top bottle from Moet. The history of it's great. Another time we can talk about it, but it's really, really fascinating.
Let's get that pronunciation down one more time. Can you just say the name of the Dom Perignon?
There it
Dom
is.
Perignon. And then a lot of people, I think you said it correctly, but a lot of people say Moet et Chandon or Chandon, and Moet is not correct. Now, it would be if Moet was a French word, but it's actually not. It's a Dutch word.
Oh.
So therefore, it's Moet.
Oh.
So you would always, in Champagne, they would say Moet et Chandon. They will always say that. It's never Moet. So I don't like to necessarily correct people on that, but I do like to let people know. It's interesting to me that it's not.
Sure.
And I was corrected when working at L'Albatros as an 18-year-old, and I thought I was so fizz and fancy. I took French class. Oh, Moet Chandon. He looked at me like, you mother fizzer. You're so full of yourself. Which I was, so I'm glad he did that. But no, so the thing is, you clearly like champagne. Knowing Michel Gonnet is beyond impressive, by the way. Most people don't know that champagne house, or they won't remember that, or they won't understand about the Blanc de Blanc thing or all of that, which is amazing, or the Green Apple. Like, very well done.
All right.
And so, like, if you were to visit Michel Gonnet and visit with Sophie Gonnet, it's family, it's small, you don't have tourists, they're not, like, fizzing you with costs and where you only get one glass and the tour is not very good. Like, it's legit. Moet... So my point was, I visited Dom Perignon, which is like kind of on the same property of Moet. You basically just go in, one door is Moet, one door is Dom.
Got it.
And it's just like, it's very corporate. You will, unless you really priced it way up, like depending on the experience. They have different experiences, but the general experience, you're with a group, a tour, it's very commercialized.
Get them in, kind of get them out.
Get them out. They get one glass of the Brut Imperial, I mean, it's kind of a joke. And it's like you're in Champagne, So it's just like, you will learn a lot more and have a way better experience not going there. On that very same street, I can tell you places to go to, and I can even tell them you're coming. I hate to flex a little, but like,
let's go.
God bless. I mean, use connections. That's another thing everybody should know.
That's right.
Everybody, it's not what school you went to. It's not what grades you got. It's who you fizzing know.
Yeah.
It's who you care to learn their story. It's who you care to talk to and ask them questions. That's what matters the most in this world. You go and succeed. Like us, like we talked to each other. We got to know each other
That's right.
on at the Sawyer outside. You know, that's we got after we did the photo shoot, and we hung out for a few hours and just talked.
Yes.
And learn each other's stories. You know, and that's what it's about. It's about that. I don't even like to say it's networking. It's just about getting to know people and really wanting to learn their story. And I tell people, do that because it opens every door.
Yeah.
And like during COVID, I pivoted very quickly, and the very first live tasting I did was with a club bottle that we're doing with Boiselle, and I had the privilege of doing a live tasting with Florent Roch Boiselle, 5th generation president, CEO of his family champagne house.
Wait, how do you spell that? The champagne house.
Boizel. Some people will say it very German, Boisel, which is hilarious. Are you going there? No, Fizz and Way.
He's going.
No, Fizz and Way. Okay, so I will make sure you are. That is so Fizz and funny. Okay, yes.
That is awesome.
So we have 3. I'm sorry because I just want to make sure I can.
Definitely go to Boiselle though. They're great people.
Boiselle. Okay.
Boiselle. Yeah, it's O-I in French is like we. It makes a w sound.
So on the research that I did on them, they're the research.
1834.
The research said that they're like I'm going to use my own words. The OGs of Blanc de Blancs in Champagne. They said that that's like one of their big specialties is Blanc de Blancs. I don't know if I'm right on that. Maybe I need to do some more research.
That might be one of the other ones on yours. They're more Pinot Noir.
Okay.
They're Pinot Noir people.
Okay.
So all of their champagne will be Pinot Noir dominant. Except that being said, I mean, they have beautiful, like if you follow Florent on Facebook or Instagram, he's posting, he loves to go visit his family's vineyards, which I love. He's always in the vineyards.
Yeah.
And so he's always showcasing the bottles. And they have great holdings in the Côte Blanc, which is all Chardonnay. It's all Chardonnay. That's where the best Chardonnay comes from. Michel Gonnet is in the village of, it's either Avize or Le Ménis-Roger. And all of the best Chardonnay comes from that specific area. So he's always there because it's like a 15-minute drive. Like that's the cool thing. Boiselle only has their vineyards and purchases from long-standing contracts within like a 15-mile radius.
Gosh.
It's
Incredible.
super local. So they're really, really, really awesome. And I just have to tell my very, very quick Boiselle story. So when we went there, we took club members there, right? Like, again, on these trips.
Wow.
It's, again, what our club members get is nobody gets.
Yes.
They shut everything down for us. Like, the house isn't open to anybody. It's shut down. We're with Florent. And my thing is, my birth year was a terrible year for wine and champagne. Terrible. I like to say God used all that energy to
I love it. I love it.
It was a lot, so he couldn't give it to the grapes. And so 91 is a terrible wine year. Terrible wine year. And so anytime I go somewhere, Champagne, any winery, I always ask if you all made a 91. And so I said to Florent, I'm like, oh, Florent, you know, did you guys make a 91 at all? Is there any 91? And he's like, oh, well, Raymond, I'm gonna have to check. You know, I think we probably did the Joyaux, which is their tête de cuvée in 91. But I don't know, I gotta check. So he goes down to the cellars. Like, they have beautiful cellars, beautiful caves, like caves, right, below the city of Ep3. And he goes down. He comes back with this hella dusty bottle of this 91 of their tête de cuvée, right, their top bottle. And he says, Raymond, I found one, but unfortunately, I cannot find a price or anything. There's no information at all on it. So, you know, happy birthday. Thank you so much.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was very special.
Yeah.
And so my girlfriend and I, on that trip, we stayed, which you have to, I don't know where you're staying, but you're going to have to, again, pivot maybe perhaps, at least for one night, and stay at the Royal Champagne. And it's the best hotel, and it was amazing. And so we stayed there for one night.
Was that in Epernay?
It is just outside of Epernay.
Okay.
It's like a 15-minute drive from Epernay. And so, anyway, we stayed there, and for dinner, they have one Michelin star restaurant, and so we had dinner there, and we opened the bottle. And it was, it was just magnificent. It was just very special. So I'm a big fan of Boiselle. I'm going to make sure they see this so they see how much I promote them. But, yeah, it's great champagne house.
I pulled this
That's
up
so funny. What a random
just to make sure this is it, right?
Of course that's it.
They are
How can
amazing.
You can watch our virtual tasting and learn a lot. That it's on our Instagram. It's one of our reels. Boiselle. So you had Moet, which I would pivot next door to Moet, is Collard Picard. And just their champagne selections, their Blanc de Blanc. It's like you can sit there and their wine glasses. I will pay you. I've broken them. But they have the most beautiful tulips. The most beautiful. You should just get some. They are so beautiful.
How do you spell this?
COLLARD-PICARD. So, you know, I'm pretty sure Jean-Luc Picard is their family member or something. But,
wow.
Amazing.
This has been helpful for me so far.
Right?
Thank you.
Excited.
Thank you, Raymond.
You know?
Yeah, and then the third place is we're going to Michel Gonnet.
Oh, good.
And I get an email back from them. And
did you talk with Tappan? Did you talk with their importer at all, or just went straight to the house?
Well, unlike Boiselle
Yeah.
and Moet, it was like Michel Gonnet was like super small batch. I had to just
it is.
email them. I got an email back, and they go, "Would you be okay if we do your tasting, but then we're also going to do a tasting game as well?" So I guess we're going to be doing some sort of tasting game with them.
See, that's the thing. When you visit, and that's why I tell people visit. So you got to visit the growers. So they call them growers. A grower champagne house is they buy nothing. They own everything. They're generally very small. It's mom and pop shop. Farmer Fizz, they call it, because they are the farmers themselves. They're not the houses buying. Like Boiselle is a hybrid. They own a lot of vines, but they also buy a lot of vines. Moet buys pretty much exclusively. But like Michel Gonnet, they own it all. It's their vineyards. I would ask them to take you to one of their vineyards. I would ask them to go to one of the vineyards. They'll happily do it. Just say, I would love to see one of the vineyards.
So it sounds like, too, what you're passionate about as far as that small, the growers, and then that intimate experience. Essentially, that's what you're doing with Fizz.
Yeah. It's all about storytelling. All of these houses, these growers, they're telling a story with their champagne, with their family, with their background. And for me, that's one of our core values is storytelling. And I just so believe in that because it shows champagne is so serious. It's so different. It's not what people think. And, here we are, 3 straight men drinking champagne. That's as it should be. But so much of a view on it is it's been so feminized. The irony is 90% of the vines and the vineyards and the houses and the winemakers are men.
Yeah.
Now, would you say what you just said? Now, this is fascinating. That applies to America, because that can't apply to France.
It's predominantly America. Yeah, it's very much an American problem.
Got it.
Which I'm trying to change.
Yeah.
I really want to change that. And the funny thing is too, half of the champagne bars, there's only like 6, but still,
Yeah.
50% of the champagne bars in the country are owned by straight men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. But again, this weird connotation that it's such a feminine drink or whatnot. And it's stupid because it's really, the winemakers are men. People that own the champagne houses are men. Like, why are we just making it that it's a female beverage? And plus, this was the wine of kings and the king of wines.
Man.
Wow.
So
come on.
I'm just curious, as an entrepreneur, you get to wake up every day. You're in the process right now of your second location, but this cannot feel like work to you.
No, I tell you, it isn't. It really isn't. And there's hard days. We all have hard days. But it's still like, man, to have a hard day with champagne versus something else. Like it's never that hard. And it's always a privilege and a pleasure to get to truly do what I love and to talk to people and to open people's eyes again into the magic of champagne and fizz, because it is such a joyful thing. And my thing is, I believe in drinking a glass of champagne every day to celebrate what God's given us. We're so blessed every day, every fizzing day. And why would we not want to celebrate with the happiest beverage? You can't be sad drinking fizz.
No.
You can't.
Man.
You can have a bad day. Tell you what, you pop a little bit of fizz, day's going to turn right side up.
Amazing.
Get with it. Get the fizz out of here, And so that's what we try to do at Fizz, is all about that joy and celebration and celebrating the everyday.
You're doing an amazing job with it. To make sure I don't mess up the second time,
Yes.
what did I do wrong the first time?
You take off the foil.
Okay.
That's called the foil.
Okay.
And then what you're not going to do is you're not going to take off the cage. Or in French, they call that a muzzle, which when you look at it, it looks exactly like a muzzle or a muselet in French. So you're going to keep the muzzle on.
Okay, muzzle on.
You put your left thumb on top of the muzzle, and then with your right hand, you're going to twist the twisty tab on the muzzle.
Okay.
It's always 6 turns.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. It's always
6 turns.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Oh,
Praise him
my
on high.
goodness.
And then give it a wiggle. Keep the thumb on top. Keep it right.
Okay.
And then now you have your index finger, wrap it around the cork.
Okay.
You have your thumb on top, and now you twist from the bottom. Slowly twist from the bottom. You don't move your wrist.
I'm locked in on the
Lock
left
it in.
side.
Lock it in. It's only there, and you're going to engage again your muscles, and that is what's going to keep it. So it's like you're like keeping the pressure in, keeping the force to make it as quiet and silent as possible. I make my team; they have to learn this too.
I mean, you're picking the perfect guy to show
Nice.
him. I want you to become an expert in popping
I
bottles.
became better
Right?
today. I became
Look at
better
that. That's
today.
all we can ask,
Man.
isn't it?
Can you steal his glass for me, Chris?
Thank
so I don't
you.
have to
I know. There's
step
a
across.
hole, unfortunately. You may have to take these back and get a refund.
Oh, amazing.
So as he's pouring those, let's take a transition. So you're engaged. Is that correct or not yet? Or
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
How long have you been dating?
Camille, 2 years, September 13th.
And then where did you guys meet?
Oh my gosh. It's the best story.
Okay.
It really is the best story. It is. We're deciding, are we going to sell this to Warner Brothers? Is this MGM? Is Netflix going to pay out more? They're paying a lot these days. We're trying to figure that out. But it was her mother's birthday, September 13th. And her mother had just gotten the clear from breast cancer. She was like stage 4.
Oh, wow.
Praise God, like totally good, totally healthy. And so she had just, everything had gotten the all clear. And so what did she really want to do? She wanted to go have lunch at the Ritz, Half Moon Bay. So so her husband, who's an amazing guy, by the way.
That place is incredible, by the way.
It's unreal. It's unreal. And so wanted to go there. So, of course, Neil Hankin, owner of Hankin Specialty, by the way, if anybody needs an elevator in their home, he's the guy. Really awesome guy. So they go there. I, with my champagne club, I've made a lot of friends from my club members, like Rene, and I have a lot of other club members. There's a really good club member who was supposed to come on our first champagne trip. Guess when the first champagne trip was supposed to be? July of 2020. So no one came, right?
Exactly.
And unfortunately, though, right after that, in the middle of COVID, this club member's husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And very sadly went downhill very quickly, and he passed away January of 21. And she kind of went into just, mourning as you would for the love of your life. And a few months later, she started coming around to Fizz again. She'd been a club member, and she was a baller club member. She had a lot of bottles to pick up. And she would then, though, start, texting me and say, hey, Raymond, could you bring, deliver me some bottles? She's like, could you bring a bottle of Crew? Could you bring a bottle of this and that? I said, happily. And so I'd bring, and then she started saying, why don't you stay? Why don't we pop in and have some, and let's chat, let's talk. And so we became really good friends. And she was just is an amazing person. And so then fast forward, it's that following September of 2021, and she says, hey, she doesn't like to drive, and but she likes nice things and it's nice to go places. So she says, hey, Raymond, it's more expensive for me to hire a driver to go drive me back and forth to the Ritz Half Moon Bay than it is for me to just have you drive us, and I'll pay for you to get your own room. Will you come? God. I know.
Now, leading up to this, have you ever stayed in one of the rooms at the Ritz?
So it has always been a dream to stay there. I had never stayed there. I've always wanted to. But obviously it's a very expensive place. And, so I just hadn't. And so she said that. And funny enough, I was actually really hesitant because I was really, business focused. And I was like, well, I have a lot of business the next few days. It's going to be really hard. I don't know what to do. And so you got to slip it in, right? And so then eventually she convinces me, and we go. We have an amazing week. And so I get there, and I'm like, okay, but I'm just going to drive you there, and then I got to go back the next day because I have lots of meetings. And I get there, and you walk in, and you see the view, through the restaurant, and my eyes are like, what? And so I get my phone, and I'm like, and all meetings are canceled. I'm like, I just
Smart
come
man.
on, right? 3 days,
Smart
have my own
man.
fire pit room. Like,
Yes.
I mean, come on. And so then the next day I had to get up. I went to breakfast early. My friend was going to breakfast or brunch late, whatever. I get there, and again, I just walk in, and they gave me the best table center again, just overlooking the ocean. And I get to sit down, and this family was sitting to the left. This beautiful family, mom, dad, daughter. And so I sit down, but I'm just focused on the ocean. I'm not on my phone or anything. I'm just focused, so happy.
By the way, when I went, I was having breakfast, and we saw whales.
Okay.
Whales
wow.
were just. I'm
You
just
one
saying.
up me. Sorry. Okay, I'll go home now. Should I get the day?
No.
I
No,
did see
keep
whales,
going.
but I saw better than a whale that day.
Yeah,
to be fair.
exactly.
So my view's the ocean. It's just beautiful. But so then my friend comes, and she keeps looking over my shoulder. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, Raymond, this girl cannot stop staring at you. And I said, no way. I said, yeah, she can't. So I turn around, and I smile, and I see the girl just smiling at me, and then turn back around. I'm like, oh, okay, really? And so she said, yeah. And I said, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then let me know, because, it's a long walk of the hall to go to where the bathrooms are there. And so I come back, and she's like, oh, yeah, left, right, up and down. She couldn't stop looking at you. And I said, no fizzing way. And so then we're there. And mind you, this is the funny thing of it all. And she loves telling this part. This is how you see me. I'm generally pretty much dressed like this all the time.
Exactly.
And at this, I think I told Theo this story. I can't remember. But so I'm there, and I'm dressed in basketball shorts, Birkenstocks, and a sweatshirt. Hair, no peacock that day.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it was just hella funny because it's just, she was so mesmerized.
Yeah.
And so then we get up to go and I have to walk by her table to go out. Stand up, I turn to the left, and then I just like smile, like 3 seconds like that. And she just smiles, and we're both smiling at each other. And then I walk away, and I get to the end of the hall, and I turn around and look at her, and her entire family is turning around looking at me, right? And then I'm like so excited, nervous, and I thought, okay, well, you know what? If I see her around, I will definitely say something. But I was really not thirsty at this time, so I'm like, well, if I don't, then I don't. And we're in Half Moon Bay, so I'm like, I don't know. So then I go, and then my friend goes to the gift shop. I go and have a Zoom meeting now, and my friend goes to the gift shop, and she sees Camille and her family, and she overhears Camille say, I have to get this letter to him. And so she, at lunch, overheard my room number, stalker, and was writing me a letter to slip under my door.
Oh,
and so, but then, of course, my friend is there, and her family recognizes my friend, and so her dad is like, stop talking. And so then my friend comes up, and she says very boldly, she says, so what was going on between you and my friend at lunch? And Camille, who is like me, not speechless generally ever at all, she is totally speechless, and her mom covers her, and she's like, oh, she thought he looked familiar. And she said, oh, really? Where are you guys from? Mind you, again, we're in Half Moon Bay, 3.5 hours away. And she says, oh, we're from Sacramento. How about you? And she said, oh, that's funny. So are we.
Oh, my gosh.
And then they said, my friend said, have you heard of Fizz? And they said, no, we haven't. Camille hadn't. I was not happy about that. But that's okay. She said they had it, and they said, oh, okay. And then she said to her, she said, are you single? And she said, I am. And then she said, well, so is he. And he's definitely looking. So then they all kind of exchanged info. I find this out afterwards.
Wow.
I find her on Instagram, like pretty much instantly. I send her a DM, and that was on Tuesday. We meet up on Saturday for coffee, turns into lunch. I invite her to this incredible event on Sunday at Fizz. And then on Monday, we find out.
Probably doesn't hurt, by the way, sorry to cut you off, but probably doesn't hurt that you're like getting to show her off to your champagne establishment.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
that's just a big bonus.
I was so smitten, and so was she, which was amazing. And so then we find out on Monday, right? This was so less than a week after our eyes locked, right? And I find out on Monday, she says that her mom were one of her sisters. She was one of, like, they were all from Sacramento too. Her mom and her dad, they were both from Sacramento. That one of her sisters went to Loretto. My mom went to Loretto, and all of my female cousins, my aunts, everybody went to Loretto. And so said, really? And so then I asked Mom, I said, hey, Mom, did you know any McCardle girls? Does that? And she's like, well, I knew one, but she didn't go to Loretto. She went to St. Francis, and then she was telling me all these things. I'm like, wait a second. And it turned out it was Camille's mom. Oh so my mom and Camille's mom were friends in high school.
Oh, my goodness.
And then, get this. And I find out from my mom. She's like, oh, yeah. And yeah, Shelly, and they ended up moving here. And oh, yeah, I dated her husband in college and blah, blah, blah. And I said, what? So my mom, not only did she know her mom in high school, my mom dated her dad in college.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, you can't make this up.
Oh, my goodness.
And then she's vegetarian. I'm vegetarian. She owns her company called Food Simply, incredible private chef, private dinner, catering company. And I own a champagne bar. I mean, it was just like meant to be absolutely insane. And so, yeah, it'll be 2 years, September 13th.
This will be an insane movie because
I'm telling you,
because
it really will be.
After the beginning, I guarantee it'll be a great movie as well. But that is amazing.
It really is. And we've now been all over the world together. She's come to Champagne. We went to Vienna after we've known each other for 2 months, and I said, or been dating now for 2 months, and I said, do you want to go to Vienna for Christmas with me? And she said, of course. And then we had the most magical Christmas in Vienna. And I mean, it was just, and we've been all over the world together. And yeah, Prague this year for Christmas together. So every other year we go out of the country for Christmas. And
Let's go.
It's very special.
Unreal.
We all need friends like your friend. And
we do.
Look at
Seriously.
That's such a God-appointed story.
Oh, 100%.
For you to be, because like, I don't know. I think if somebody just asked me, hey, would you like to drive me to Half Moon Bay, Ritz-Carlton? I would probably just have to say yes. Let me clear my schedule.
Yeah.
But look at the blessing that it brought you. It's an amazing story, man.
Wow. She's amazing. She is. I always make more sales when she's at Fizz. You know, I mean, she's just the clincher, and you know, she has such a passion like I do for her business, and every one of her family, they're all entrepreneurs. Her mom was a very famous florist. Dad owns an incredibly successful company. She owns her company. Her brother started a company in the Bay Area. Like, it's crazy. And it's so cool to get to see that because I really believe that people should be their own bosses. I think overall, you generally are a lot happier. I think you make more money, or it's money that feels more rewarding and satisfying. And, you're in your calling. And I think most people, they feel like they can't. They feel like they don't have the support even, and I think that's so sad too. So many families, like, an opera singer? Mm-hmm. You want us to spend $50,000 a year at conservatory for you to be an opera singer? Get the Fizz out of here with
right.
that. You're going to ARC and then Sac State. Okay, Stinger's up. That and that wasn't what I wanted. That wasn't my dream. That wasn't my calling. And it was opera. And I guarantee you, doing that has led and opened so many doors in Champaign. I learned so much. And so I just really think as parents, there's so many people out there that are gonna just, kind of poop on your kids' dreams or whatever. But as a parent, you really don't be that person.
Yeah.
You want to help your kids follow their dreams and be there if something does happen, but also be there if it does go right. And that's, I think, the greatest thing you can do as a parent.
Big time. And every time we talk, creative juices flow. I'm literally wearing my Entrepreneur for Life shirt
it's
because
awesome.
because of you. But it's still scary, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's not linear. We have big stretches of good and bad,
100%.
and you have to believe in yourself more than anybody else does, because nobody else gives you that limiting factor. I'll be quite honest. A lot of dreams go and die just with family around because of those same limiting factors that you talked about. And it's a scary thing. It looks a certain way from the outside. We know better than that.
Oh, gosh.
We know better than that.
I love all the memes about that, right?
Exactly.
Like what it looks like.
But, it is something that you take pride in, and it's something that at the end of the day, you're supposed to do. You just sometimes get tripped up and fake yourself out, so
you do.
It's amazing to hear from your side.
It's scary because the thing is, and I tell people, you can't dip your toe in. Mm-hmm. And feel the water.
Agreed.
You gotta jump.
Agreed.
It's never gonna happen until you just jump right in. You can't wait till you're not afraid and you have everything lined up. You can't do that. And some people try to say, oh, you need to have this, you need to do this, you need to do this. That's fizzing, scary, and terrifying. Mm-hmm. That gives me anxiety. I can't do that.
Yes.
And I didn't do that. And I'm so grateful I didn't do that. And you really just nope, I'm doing a Champagne bar. I went to Secretary of State's thing, got my LLC created, and I just went.
I want to slow that down, because if I were to do it all again, I tried to dip my toe in, and it's the absolute wrong way. If you're going to put a Champagne bar together, put it right next to the heart of Sacramento, the biggest building where everybody come and go big. Amazing, and that's how to do it. Yeah. So I want to slow that down and make sure people listen to that part of it, because it is scary, but that's the best thing that you could have told people out there, man. Seriously. Man, amazing. And here's the other thing. I definitely wanted to jump into the business side of it, because, you are Fizz. When you're there, you have amazing staff, but at the same time, you are Fizz. It is a different vibe when you're there, and you have to recreate. You're doing this at more than one location. Yeah. What is your biggest struggles right now for chasing your dream of expanding this the way that you want it?
Well, it's amazing, right? Because you have the passion, you have the drive, you have the dream, you have the vision. That's all fizz and great. Mm-hmm. But a good leader, entrepreneur, knows you got to have other people around you.
That's right.
It's a tribe. You got to create your tribe, and you curate that tribe. Too many people have too many hyenas around them, right? And that's a problem. You really got to care who those people are with you, because we all have to lift each other up. Mm-hmm. You have to make sure you have people that are going to go alongside you and lift you up and support you. And that comes with your that doesn't even just come with your friend group of entrepreneurs or whatever. That comes with your team. Every single person you hire, it matters so much, because they are a representative of you. They're an extension of you, of your vision. And you got to get those motherfuckers bought into your vision.
Yeah.
Because if they're not bought into your vision, what makes you think they're gonna do it? And so I'll tell you, pre-COVID, we were on just the most incredible God-ordained trajectory.
Yeah.
As I'm sure all of us felt we were.
Yes.
And then, boom, overnight, it was not even like negative. It was just, what happened? It was just confusion. And for me, it was very much, I didn't sit in the confusion. And I think as entrepreneurs, again, you can think about different things to do, but you got to make a decision. You got to go. Mm-hmm. You can't sit in confusion and just put your head in the sand. You fizzing pivot. So many, not so many. There were like 2 or 3 Champagne bars, but out of the amount of Champagne bars in the country, that's a lot, closed during COVID because they didn't pivot. They just set their head in the sand and waited and hoped. And I knew that wasn't what we had to do. And so, but through it, though, we've lost in the hospitality world a lot of really good staff. and really good employment pool. And it really has created, I mean, I'm sure you've been to a lot of restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
And not even just Sacramento, but definitely in Sacramento, but all over, where you're like, man, this service is not pre-COVID level era. And to be honest, it's probably never going to get back.
Never going to get back.
Yeah, I mean, you see it now a lot of the times. You don't even like at one large, restaurant brand, you order from a QR code. You see your server very little. And
that is such a pet peeve of mine.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I will never do that. Because honestly, like, why do you really want to tip those people? Like, why would you tip them when they're not? It's weird. It's weird. So, I mean, I get that from a business owner side, but it's just the whole dynamic of restaurants and bars is so different. And how you train, how you staff. So for me, that's a long-winded thing to say. That a big thing has been staff. And for Sacramento, I am so blessed that I feel so good that we are in such a good rhythm right now with my team. But it's taken 2 fizzing years.
Yeah.
2 years, right? Because COVID was a whole year plus, and then now just going out of it, it's been a 2-year thing. Walnut Creek, I've been hiring for Walnut Creek since April. And I now just have 7 good people. Back of house, being fully transparent, I don't have someone yet that I feel confident for the back of the house, for the kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, good. This applies to any business.
Any business.
Any business. It even applies to sports. It applies to everything. And this is an understatement. Finding great talent is so difficult.
It is. And, I get it. Like, it's hard if you're full-time at a restaurant to make necessarily money where everything maybe works out or checks out for you. Like, you can make very good money. Like, still with tips, you make great money, especially at Fizz, you make great money. But, healthcare is always a big issue, right? And retirement, all of this stuff. There's a lot of issues that I'm not prepared to address or have the ability to address. And I think it's something, honestly, our electeds really should address. Because I think even when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think if the government provided healthcare, I think we would see so much more innovation and creativity and entrepreneurship because people wouldn't be just working at a job, get the benefits. How many people do we know are really not that happy and they work in jobs and businesses and places because they need the healthcare?
100%.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's something that I would love to see. I'll tell you, we all know how much business taxes we pay, and it's like, where is that going?
Yeah.
Where the fizz is that going?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I would love to see my staff be able to get that so they could be happier, not worry about this and this and this. And so I do, though, believe in incentivizing. And so we do that with our club memberships. We do that with trips. I just told my team on Saturday, we had an initiative from September to September. Any one of you, it could be all of you, we'll close down for a week. Any one of you gets 175 memberships because the membership platform of what Fizz does with our club membership is a really pivotal part. If any one of you gets 175 memberships, doesn't matter the level, you get to come to France to one of these amazing trips.
Wow.
Fully paid. We'll pay for it.
Wow.
And you have to, and that Fizz and Day, this one guy right after the meeting, he got 4 memberships. And it's amazing. You always have to incentivize them and make sure people know that they are a valued part because my vision doesn't exist. At the end of the day, it does not exist without the people I have that are part of the team, which is why I never talk about them as my employees. I talk about them as part of the team.
Same.
We're all part of the team.
Team members.
It has to be a team atmosphere. And so, that's what I've created. I've now created that at Walnut Creek. The other thing is, like, to be honest, my standards are very high.
Yes.
Because what I'm creating is so different. My product is so different. The price point is so different. How am I going to get you to spend on a bottle of Krug if you don't hear the story I'm telling you?
Yeah.
You have to know it. And so every one of my team members is expected to be able to say everything I just said to the T for 25 different champagne sparkling wines.
Amazing.
Glass.
They do an amazing job up here.
Yeah.
They do an amazing job. So.
And so that's, So finding the right team, man, and incentivizing them in the right way, getting them to believe in your vision. And that's been the hardest thing. But I really believe don't cheapen it. And I think a lot of people, because they just want bodies, they'll cheapen it. And I don't think they should do it.
Oh, man, the wrong body, you pay
way more.
A lot more, triple, quadruple if you got the wrong body there. Crazy. It's always going to be a hurdle, too.
I want to hear about the memberships. So can you touch on...
Amazing. Yeah. Well, Rene's been a member since basically we met.
Yeah, for sure.
I got him. I got him right then.
Oh, yeah.
But it really is. The thing is, I believe in my own, Kool-Aid. I believe in it so fully. I get my team to believe in it because it really is amazing. So at Fizz, you don't even have to live in Sacramento. Everyone that's listening to this, if you're in like any Western state, even several Midwestern states, West Coast, we ship to Texas now and Florida now. Like we ship all over, but we have the most unique and boutique subscription. So again, everything is hand selected by me. It's not some other person. I don't just go through catalog. These are from my experiences to Champagne. I've been there 16 times now. It's ridiculous. Like they're from my stories, you know? I mean, we've put stuff in there that nobody had heard of before. Nobody had heard of Boiselle. You will never see Boiselle around. We had Boiselle that nobody had that. And so I get unique and boutique champagnes from my travels. 90+% of them are coming from my travels. I know them personally. I have the stories with it. And then from all around the world. You know, before I opened Fizz, I went to Champagne, but where else did I go? I went to Spain. I went to Austria. I went to England. I went to South Africa and created all of these incredible relationships and met and learned and everything. And so, you know, we have 4 different levels and something for everyone, as low as $59 a bottle for an incredible, unique and boutique champagne. I always tell people, if right now, if your thing, you like champagne or you think you do, or you feel like you just can't have a bottle all the time, you can. And give yourself permission. Let us give you permission. Join the club. And so $59, you get an incredible, unique and boutique bottle of champagne. Retail like $85, $100, you get it for $65. And if you're in Sacramento, you get all these additional perks. Or if you come to the bar and pick up, you get additional perks. Or if you're a shipping client, you get an extra bottle of champagne and sparkling wine every quarter. So we always, you know, make it super beneficial. And then Connoisseur, you get 2 bottles, a great bottle of sparkling that I found on my travels, like from England or wherever, and then a great unique bottle of champagne. Reserve, I always say, is best value. Reserve is like the level of Krug, but of unknown houses, small producers, tiny.
And this is once a month?
Once a month. You can do it once a month. That's our normal. Or you can do it every other month. And if every other month is really too hard for you to drink 2 bottles, which is very concerning, then you could do quarterly. We can always do that. Like, I just want people to understand and be able to have their eyes open to what great champagne is. Because, to be honest, like, God bless them and what they've kind of done for champagne, but it's kind of kept people pigeonholed, like, especially with Veuve Clicquot. You know, a lot of people, when they first started, like I did. I mean, I remember, again, when I thought you could just have champagne twice a year, I remember my girlfriend, like, getting us a bottle of that time of Veuve Clicquot for our anniversary, you know, in college. And that was so special. Yeah. But literally, and with that same club that introduced me to Camille, I remember the first time she sent me a text, and it was like the biggest compliment. She said, wow, you've ruined me. Veuve Clicquot tastes like sewer water. Wow. Which, you know, sorry, Veuve, but, you know, it's just like the quality is just, it's a different game. And for the same price, why not have something that is so much better, unique, and that has like quality guaranteed, you don't have to worry about, and you can always pop for any time. Yeah. Because there's always a reason to celebrate. Yep. Always.
So I'll tell you my biggest struggle, though. I have a ton of bottles, obviously, and I save them, but I got to drink it with somebody that appreciates it, though. Yeah. That's my problem. I mean, I get into it when Chris comes over, but that's good. Not many others.
But what about, though, do you think that maybe the people that are coming over that you think maybe don't, it's just, again, they just don't know?
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe, and I can't tell them the same way you can, though, so I don't have the story behind it.
But they can taste. I'll tell you what. If you just bring out, and you make that the starting thing. You know, you never bring out the good stuff last. You always, I don't know there's a stat that's like in economics where you start with the best and it goes down after that. But, you know, you bring out a great bottle from the club as the first thing. Be like, guys, taste this. You have confidence to say, this is amazing. I mean, you're going to love it, and you don't put it in flutes. I guarantee you they'll be like, hold on. This is champagne.
Love it.
This is really good fizz. Yeah. Because most people, they associate it with weddings, which generally it's cheap.
Oh, yeah.
Crap. Very crap. Yep. Way sweet, sugary, not well made, terrible, terrible stuff. Or, you know, like if it's not weddings, it's just someone brought them a bottle and that person had no idea. And so it's not great. It's Cooks, you know, or they know the 2-liter from Costco, right? So it's something where I think we need to just be more open to sharing our love for it and being like confident to say, you need to try this. Oh, you don't like champagne? Try this. Seriously, 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10 times, they will always be like, holy fizz, and they will get on it. They'll get hooked.
I love it. That's great.
What membership? You're on the Baller? Is that
I don't even know which one I am, to be honest.
You end up with certain bottles. You really just need to let us ship to you, so you don't have to wait so long.
It gives me a reason to come in, and I still suck at that.
I know.
But so I'm not even sure. It's been, I mean, it was from the beginning, and I haven't changed anything.
I think you're in con. You should honestly move to the reserve.
You tell me what I'm supposed to be.
The reserve? Tell us.
The reserve is 2 high-end bottles of champagne. So like the Krug level of champagne, We're talking vintage. We're talking single vineyards. We're talking Grand Cru.
Done.
We're talking exclusive bottles.
Done.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I would appreciate it if he will get on to that.
Yes, I bet you would, Chris.
I'll get on an allocation. I'll get on the one just below that.
Okay.
Just so that we can have variety.
Have variety. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Sharing is caring.
That's right.
Fizzing is fizzing. So it's
That's
great.
right.
You know, we all got to fizz a little bit.
I want to ask you a question. So one of the things that I'm really enjoying is, and I've already mentioned this once, is so it's a pet peeve of mine when I go places, especially if I'm like at a high-end restaurant.
Yeah.
And you can barely hear the person talk, right? And something I've noticed about you is that you're freaking passionate. You're passionate, and I think where it starts with energy. Your energy
100%.
your energy levels, and it's
100%.
and it is something that just when you're around somebody with high energy levels that's passionate, it just you soak that in. It's contagious.
It is contagious.
So if somebody's listening to this podcast and they're thinking about starting a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you have for them?
It first has to be something you are passionate about.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I talk to people, and seriously, anybody listening, if you ever want to reach out, if you want advice, you want to ask me anything, please do. Because, I mean, I love helping other people out because I do, like I said, I think everyone should be an entrepreneur. I think everyone should be their own leader in something. But you have to be passionate about it. Yeah. And, you know, I got investors for Fizz 1, right? I had to sell it. I had to sell the dream. I didn't know what I was doing. Fizz opened when I was 27 years old. I was starting the journey at 20, fizzing like 5. I mean, it's insane. I knew nothing about nothing, but you better believe I had passion.
That's right.
I had total passion because I believed in it. So you first have to really believe in whatever it is that you're thinking of. If you want to make glasses, if you love the idea of glasses, glassware, be freaking passionate about it, and I guarantee you will get investors. You will get someone who will believe in it with you. But if you're not passionate about it, you'll never get money. You'll never be able to get a loan. You'll never get anything. 5 Star, big fan of 5 Star, by the way. They're a great business, entrepreneur-driven bank. You know, I didn't end up I didn't use a loan for Fizz 1, but I got approved for one. Not because I mean, this is my first business. It's my first time.
Of course.
You better believe I had the passion, I had the drive, and I could sell them on it. I'd bring a bottle, I'd tell them all about it, do the Fizz hocus pocus, turn all around, and then boom. And so you have to have that passion. So I would say to anybody listening, if you're interested or you're thinking about it, you're like, man, I've been thinking about this for so long. Why are you still thinking about it? Are you passionate about it? Do you like talking about it? Does it get you excited? If it gets you excited, then go for it and have that vision, have that passion. If you're not excited about it, if you're just following like, I can make a lot of money with this, if money's your first thought, I tell everybody, don't do it. Because when you start not making money, or you're in a slump or it's hard and you're not hitting the numbers that you want or you envision for yourself, you're going to quit.
Yep.
And you never will make the real money in that situation.
That's right.
You can't follow the money. You have to follow the passion. And talk to people about it. Don't be afraid to talk about it, and take the opportunities you're given. You know, every opportunity, anybody that's ever came to me when they talked to me about NELP, talking about doing this, join this, do that, I just did it because I knew I'd learn something. Never be afraid to learn. Never be afraid to ask questions. Never be afraid to ask more people. I mean, there was one person that came to speak to us at NELP who like does big things in politics, has his own like lobbying firm or whatever, and at that time, I was thinking, because, I'm a crazy human, of running for county supervisor. And so I sent him an email, and I said, hey, I met you last week. You came and talked to our NELP class. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about politics and thinking about running for something. Yeah. It's like, okay, sure. Here's, my secretary, and she made an appointment. And so we get there, and I talk about that. But then he's like, okay, well, like, so you're interested in this, but what else are you passionate about? Let's talk about Fizz. And obviously, I'm just lighting up at that, right? And he sees that. Says, oh, you're looking for investors, huh? You're looking for investors, huh? Next day, he sent me a check. Whoa. Like, not kidding.
Whoa.
And that all came from me just reaching out, talking. And so you never know. Yeah. You never know. And so just be open, talk about it, take the opportunity. Talking about risk, just take opportunities.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, the passion is there for sure. Your passion will take you anywhere that you want to, but where is it going to take you? What's next for you? What is the vision?
Oh, man. So, here we are getting ready to open up Fizz 2. And I'll tell you what, and I'll tell anybody who's opening a business where there's like multiple locations or multiple stuff, pre-COVID, I always knew. Fizz has always been, the goal has been multiple locations, and I've always believed it's been 10 and 10 years. So I have like 7 or 8 years left, so I got to get moving. But I I called my pastor of my church because he and I are good friends, and he knows Taro of Makuni's very well. And, Taro's a man of God, amazing family, amazing everything, amazing sushi, great people. And I said, hey, I would love to like connect with Taro. Can you like see if he'd be willing to like have a call with me?
Yep.
And he was like, absolutely. So he texted him right away. And then he sent me like a screenshot, and he was like, yeah. And Taro was like, absolutely, here's my number. Well, obviously I had his number. So just give him my number. And so I called him. And this was like right before COVID happened. Like I had, none of us had a clue.
Yeah.
And he said, Raymond, just so the biggest thing is like, you think it's like meant to be, do it. But number 2 will be the absolute hardest. He said for us, for Makuni, second was the absolute hardest. Ooh. It almost destroyed him, wrecked him, broke him financially. Wow. Everything was the hardest. And he said, so really mentally prepare for that.
Interesting.
And I've definitely had to, and it has been the absolute hardest. One, it makes me think of what I imagine kids are like. One, the first one, you get pretty lucky. They're pretty easy. The second one's freaking difficult as hell.
Yeah.
And number 2, this baby has been so difficult and not even out of the womb. I mean, it's crazy. And, it's taking us a lot longer. We should have been open a lot sooner. So many hurdles. But the thing is, for me, I don't sit in it. I don't wallow it. It's like, what am I learning from this? What can I take for next time? What can I do moving forward? And we keep moving. And there is fear. There is scared. It's like, okay, money. Wow, we're getting low on money. It's a real thing. We are, but it is so close to being open. Like at Fizz Walnut Creek, we're not open. We have 100 club members.
Wow.
Not even open.
Insane.
Not even open.
Congrats.
Thank you. And so it's like, I mean, I've created all these partnerships already. Like that's the other thing. What can I be doing in this hard time?
Yeah. In
this valley to get us to the peak, to get us to the top, right? And so that's what I've been focused on. So it's like, there's going to be the hard times. And so it's been difficult now, but we're opening. So Fizz 2 is coming. The idea is after Fizz 2, instead of going straight into Fizz 3, which was previously the idea, I want to focus really strongly on the club and growing it online. I really want to focus the club because you look at what's the greatest opportunity, what's the thing that I'm most excited about, what gives us the most opportunity. And for me, it honestly is the club. Yeah. And like the bar itself is really a catalyst to get people in the club. And so for me to get people in the Champagne Revolution, get them in the club, and for doing that, it's get them these amazing bottles. So I really want to get our club nationwide. I want us to get 1,000 club members in Sacramento. After the bar opens, the goal is 1,000 members coming from online in the next year. That's going to be the main goal. And then the great thing is, guess what? It pulls more for club trips. We'll be doing more of those and gets me to the bigger idea of Fizz is renting a private plane. We're flying to France, right? I mean,
come on.
Yeah. I love it. It's awesome. My goodness. Amazing. Man, the future's bright. The future's bright. And I remember the first night we sat down at the Sawyer when we were talking, the dreams that you had, and you talked about those trips before they ever happened. Did
I? I don't remember that.
You wanted for club members to be able to go out for bed and breakfast out in Champagne. Yeah. You had talked about things like that from day this before it opened. Amazing. So
and the idea is Fizz. So I want to eventually open up because it doesn't exist. When you go to Paris, you'll see it doesn't exist. There's not even a French geared champagne tasting room. There's no champagne tasting room. But I want to open up and gear it towards tourists, a champagne tasting room. And guess what we'll be selling? Oh, you're coming from the States? Club membership. Oh, you want to go to Champagne? Great. We also have an Airbnb, or we have a B&B we rent. We have our own people. We'll take you there. So Fizz is now international, and we get them in the club. We take them to Champagne because nobody does it. No one does it better than us.
And the beautiful thing about that is you get to save somebody from a bad experience.
100%.
Right? That's like, out of all of my travels, like Theo just got back from Costa Rica.
Right.
And one of the places,
I talked with him about some stuff in Costa Rica.
Okay, nice. I'm like, I've been to Costa Rica 3 times. You got to take me up on at least one of my recommendations. Yeah. I'm just gonna save you some time and mistakes. Yeah. Right. And I think that's what you're doing. It's such a beautiful thing. Number one, I've never got the experience to ride on a private jet. That's definitely a bucket list of mine.
Me neither.
But it's just a beautiful thing, man. Like, there's something to be said about, and back when I was in my mid-20s, I used to drink beer. But the beauty of what you're doing here is the stories that are tied to it. Yeah. And then it leads to the food experiences that you get to have with it, and the places that you get to see, and then the people that you get to meet. And I think the inspiration, the takeaway that I'm getting from you, that is, I feel I do a pretty good job at, but I can do an even better job, is just opening up for more conversations.
Yeah.
Right. And just asking. I mean, it was so funny. I told Rene last week before Theo left for his trip, he's like, yeah, I met Raymond, and we talked for like, I don't know, you said like a half hour. It was, you know, and that right there, just like you said earlier, so much of people's success in life is, you know, obviously the books you read, the schools you go to, I get it, but it's the conversations you have, it's the questions that you ask, right? It's the risks you take, and there's a lot of people out there that are wanting to help you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's huge. Yeah. Kudos.
Connections that you make are amazing, and your energy is just unreal. I mean, and that's what it is. There's so much to be written in your story. You know, the legacy that you end up, I'm pretty sure it's just baby stages right now. Yeah, I know you have these dreams and everything, but where you are and when you started, it fascinates me. It's the fearlessness that I wish I would have had younger, you know, is what it is. So just appreciation, you know?
It really, and I give both of my parents so much credit because it really came from them always believing it.
Yeah.
Never once did my parents say, you can't do that.
Amazing.
Or try to talk me. They never did.
Yeah.
Ever. And I'm not saying my family life was perfect by any means, but that they both gave me in spades, and I'm grateful for, because guess what? I never questioned my ability to do anything. I still don't. I've always believed if I say I'm going to do it, I do it. And I know I can. I know I can. I just have to keep going. And that's what I would tell anybody. And again, why I said with the parent thing, if you're an adult with a kid or going to have kids, really believe in your kids, because I guarantee you they will go so much further if you do.
Man, I love it.
Have you been back to Pops, or is that place still?
Yes. Yes. I was my girlfriend and I, for Valentine's Day, we did a Valentine's weekend in Chicago. Because of course, why not go there in 15-degree weather in February? But it was amazing, and of course, I emailed because I didn't know them. I knew they followed me. I knew they knew about me. Because anytime I knew someone was going to Chicago around, I'd always say, "Go to Pops, and it's on my website in my bio. That's how I fell in love with champagne. I knew they knew about me. I knew about them, obviously, but that was it. So I sent an info email, or info at Pops or whatever, and I just say, hey, I own Fizz in Sacramento. I'm coming. I would love to meet you guys, and two owners, two male business partners, and spent like 3 hours with them. Incredible time, and we popped some really great. They were so generous. They popped some really great champagne for us.
That had to have been so cool for them to hear the story.
Part
of that inspiration. You know what I mean?
And they were. And you know what? I mean, it was. I'm really big. Like before Fizz opened too, I didn't go all around, get info. I contacted and I just Googled, looked online, whatever, Instagram, Facebook, to anyone that owned a champagne bar. And I personally emailed them, DM'd them, everything, saying like, I'm opening a champagne bar. I would love to talk with you and learn from you.
I love that.
You have to, because I don't know anything. I didn't know anything. And so I wanted to learn. And so I reached out to everyone and got so much info. So it's like, for me, it's a big thing of being like, no, I'm not. I don't like the idea. And someone gave me a mug one time, and it was very hard for me. I've never used the mug still. I got where they came from. It was very nice, but I don't jive with that mentality of self-made. I think very few people are actually self-made. There's so many people who help you to be what you become. And you might lead the pack, but I'll tell you what information I got from this champagne bar, that's made me what I am today. They have helped make me, and I am a product of this community of other people. And so I always try to give back and make sure I let everybody know that these people are influential in everything.
What a great mentality.
Going back to connections, let's just say it right here so it's on record. Okay. So we're gonna be doing one of our podcasts. We're gonna be bringing it on the road. We're gonna be doing it with Angelina Mondavi.
Love it.
And our good friend Marcus, who I've told you about. So we're gonna be doing that at Brasswood. I would love to take you down with us so we can just have a day. Even if you were able to bring Camille, we'll make it 24 hours out of it.
Love it.
They have a house out there, but I think it'd be great just for you to tell your story there. I'm pretty sure we can probably work on getting some allocation members for you, and we'll just do a day out of it. I think it'd be fun.
I'm so down.
I would love that.
Awesome.
Amazing. Yeah.
You want to transition into the fun part?
Let's do it.
Oh gosh.
Let's do it.
So we have some questions that we love asking the guests. So, well, this is going to be a unique one.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
It
about
digs into
about
who
the
you
opera,
are, right?
About,
Yeah,
about
I mean,
the
it's-
opera background.
Yeah.
It's a surprise.
And just out of curiosity, do you still sing occasionally?
Perform? Yeah, I do, not as much. I will
Okay.
say. So still to this day, I love champagne, and I am so passionate about it. It's my second favorite love, though. My voice and singing is still my number one.
Amazing.
Still my number one. It still is, and it's the greatest gift God's given me. But pre-Fizz opening, even when I was doing all this other stuff, I was singing a lot professionally, and I was doing a lot of concerts and events. Since COVID time, it's a lot. It's, this has been my calling right now. That being said, I'm getting back now since COVID. This Christmas, I'll make sure everybody listening can go. I am doing a Christmas concert at the Harris Center in Folsom, like December 9th or something. So I'm super excited about that. So I will be doing so. Definitely should come. And I really like to raise, again, I like to be as philanthropic as possible and give back. And so I'll be raising money for nonprofit. Haven't chosen this year which one it's going to be, but super excited to raise money for that.
That's awesome.
Love it.
So that'll segue into this. In no particular order, your 5 favorite musical artists.
Oh man, well, it's so hard. So many of them are opera, right?
I know. That's why we are.
Well, I'll tell you.
This
So
one.
there's 2 people that everyone see. Again, I think opera and champagne are really similar. I think a lot of people think they don't like opera. They just haven't heard the right opera or the right singer. They've gotten a real narrative in their voice similar like champagne, and so. When you, I think, hear the right opera, hear the right singer, you're like, holy Fizz, this is amazing. And that's what it was for me. And when I was 10 years old, hearing on the radio, flipping through the stations, and the mom was about to change, I was like, stop. And I heard that. I'm like, what is this? And just changed my life. So first one, his name is Jussi Björling, an incredible Swedish tenor, long since passed, but his voice, listening to him sing Nessun Dorma, which is a very famous aria. You might not know the name, but if you Googled it, you'd be like, oh yeah, and it's very famous with Pavarotti or Andrea Bocelli. Here, Jussi Björling, it's unbelievable. Franco Corelli, an incredible Italian tenor, unbelievable. Then a phenomenal soprano from Spain, she just passed away, Catalonian, called Montserrat Caballé. You listen to that woman sing, it's unreal. Rene Fleming now, who's like the queen of opera in the world now. She's amazing.
I'm just getting schooled right now.
I love this.
Isn't it fun to not know
love
someone,
this.
right?
We'll learn though.
Right? But definitely, yes. Those are like some of my absolute favorite opera singers. And then non-opera for me, like I listen to a lot of Christian music, a lot of Christian singers. So Chris Renzema is a real favorite of mine. Will Reagan is another real favorite. United Pursuit, super, super, super awesome. I listen to them all the time. And then those genre, I'm trying to think of like what I listen to if I'm not listening to those 2 things.
Yeah, is it like is it like classical rock band? Is it R&B? Is it hip hop?
Like alternative indie. So I love the Killers.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Love Killers. I'm a product of the Mr. Brightside generation. So really just love the Killers. Love the Lumineers. Big Lumineers fan. I've gotten to see them a couple times. Freaking love the Lumineers.
Renee's a hardcore Lumineers fan, so when
He's
we're not
lying to you.
Love Lumineers. Love Mumford & Sons. A lot more older stuff. But yeah, those are like some of my favorite go-tos across the spectrum.
I love it.
Awesome. We love the list, so we'll keep
a
it
good
going
list.
there.
It's a good
Hey,
list.
that's a great list. But I'm interested, especially how well-traveled you are. Your top 5, it doesn't have to be in order.
This question I love.
The restaurants.
Oh, See,
I'm going
this
restaurants.
Is the thing.
No,
listen.
we'll hit that one after the restaurants, but
Well, I just have to say this: if you talk to I don't know actually. I'll just say if you talk to me as a somm wine guy, this and that. I choose my restaurant based on the list.
I like it.
That's what I choose.
Well, still, I'm more interested in this list than anything.
Okay. So in California, I do think the best is Single Thread.
Okay.
3 Michelin star. It is exceptional. You must go.
oh my gosh, I've heard of
you know?
Red. Now,
They are truly, I think, the most highly respected from everyone restaurant. Truly.
Now, is this in LA or is
this is in like Healdsburg.
Healdsburg? It's in Healdsburg. There's a hotel there, right?
Yes. Really good hotel. Beautiful, very nice posh hotel. Yes.
I love this.
Hey, when the market starts turning around, Rene, we're there.
I love
Dude,
this.
bring me in on that, please. Please.
Yes.
But yeah, so Single Thread for sure. I think is the best. in France, in Champagne, there's a 3 Michelin star restaurant that I take my club to. We do a 12 course champagne paired dinner, and it's phenomenal. It's called l'assiette champenoise. The champagne plate is what it is in English. It's magnificent. It's really magnificent. And the guy's father that started it has the most amount of Michelin stars in
goodness.
based on all those restaurants. Yeah, it's crazy. So those two are really great. See, now you got me like on the spot with a restaurant question, and so I'm trying to think of like other restaurants I just really enjoy going to besides Chipotle.
Yeah, if we cover the Tri-County area,
okay,
I would like to give you my new favorite restaurant.
Okay,
I'm curious if you've been.
Tell me.
Have you been to Josephine's?
Where's you mean in New York?
In Auburn.
Is that owned by Chris?
I have no clue who it's owned by, but I'm about to hit you with this. If you look at a restaurant based on their list,
it's really good.
It's phenomenal.
Okay, I would love to look that up. I don't know.
Put that on your list.
Okay, yeah, Josephine's all. If we're talking more local in our region, I think Alora is a phenomenal restaurant. Yep. Elizabeth Rose and Deneb are incredible. They do a brilliant job. They're just wonderful humans. I have not been to Localis since COVID, but but pre-COVID it was amazing. Localis, I know they got a star now. Chris is a brilliant chef. Very, very talk about passion and focus on his passion. I think that's why he's gone where he's gone, because he'd be a great one to bring on the show.
His wine list is ridiculous.
And he does it all himself. He does it all himself. He's a really brilliant man. Amazing. And so those two are really great. Cacio in the Pocket is hella underrated.
Ooh,
super good. Cacio.
That's not on my radar.
Yeah, see, got him. Cacio is really good. I'm trying to think like where else. Camille's a great chef, right? My girlfriend is an incredible chef. She owns her own private chef company. We love to cook. I love to cook. Yep. So honestly, most time we cook for ourselves, or else if we're in another city, we go out. Yeah.
That's a great list, man. I like that. Go ahead, Chris.
Top 5 places to travel.
Oh my that's my favorite question, because I love to travel. I mean, I'm so big on, I think everyone should travel more. Spend less money on the house and spend it on travel.
Oh,
let's go.
Man.
Come on.
For two real estate people,
right? Yeah, I know. But so obviously Champagne is like home for me. So I love it for the fact that it's like home. But still to this day, and I cannot wait to go back in 2024. The last time I was there was 2017, was Cape Town, South Africa.
Oh, wow.
The surrounding area. Seriously, Cape Town is like if you put Malibu, Palm Springs, and Carmel into one city.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not. I'm dead serious. That is Cape Town. It is mind-blowing.
Never heard that.
Wow.
Yep. And then one of the top 50 restaurants in the world is there, so I'll be going there. I'm very excited. I wish I remembered the name. But one of the top 50 in the world is there, and like it's so inexpensive, the whole country, and so you can get their whole like 9-course tasting menu with wine pairings for like $75. I kid you.
Get out of
It's
here.
crazy.
What?
It's crazy. So South Africa, Cape Town specifically.
Okay.
Everybody's got to go. They got to go to South Africa. They got to go to Cape Town. I think it's unreal. Croatia as a country in general, I tell people, go to Croatia now. It keeps getting crazier and crazier. So Fizz and go now. The Douro Valley in Portugal. So that's where all the ports come from. So port, wine is from Porto, Portugal, but Porto, the town where all of the houses are and they actually formulate the blends, is there. But the grapes come from the Douro Valley.
Okay.
Which the Douro River starts in Porto, but it goes inwards for like several hours. Driving, seriously, you Google the photos of the vineyards in Douro Valley. It is the most, it's like that and like Cape Town are the most beautiful place I've ever seen. Man. Incredible. So I can't recommend that enough. Honestly, too, Paris is unreal. It's always is. It's like we were saying, it's never a bad time to go to Paris. It's never a bad decision. It's always, it's always amazing. Yep. It is always special, especially with a loved one.
Yep.
There's nothing like Paris with a loved one. It truly is the city of romance. And then, though, what was a shock to me, and I loved it beyond belief, was Vienna. Vienna's magical. Most people don't go to Vienna. It's still a very unknown city, and it is magic. Go during Christmas time. Stay at the Soccer Hotel. You have to stay at the Soccer. You will be shelling out. There is no point hack. I'm a point hack guy, but there's no hack in that. You got to hack everything else.
Oh, man.
So spend the money. It was funny, Camille, because, I love nice hotels. And I generally point hack it. Like, you know, when you're a business owner, right?
Yeah.
Like that's another thing you should just even do a podcast on. I tell you, if you own your own business, if you're not getting the points, you're doing something wrong, man. You got to get the points. And so I always like with the point game with hotels and airfare and all that, but the soccer has no loyalty thing. And I told Camille, I said, you know, and we didn't know each other too well at the time, really. And I said, hey, love, I think we should splurge for Christmas. I think we should stay at the soccer. I think we should stay at this hotel and splurge. Or you're like, what do you think? She's like, oh, yeah, totally. Let's splurge. Her idea of splurging and mine were very different. So when she saw that Venmo request for half of it, she was a little surprised. I paid for everything else, just the hotel. But it's unreal. So stay in Vienna. Go during Christmas. Stay at the Hotel Soccer. It will be magic beyond belief. Salzburg as well. Austria, honestly, in general, is so magical. And Tuscany is so clichély beautiful, and it's everything you see in the movies and the videos. I love Tuscany. That's where I spent most of my time. Singing was in Tuscany. Montalcino, where Brunello comes from, is just I sang in the town square at 11 p.m. singing an aria from Don Giovanni. I mean, it was crazy,
insane,
crazy town. So those are my favorites. But I tell people seriously, the best though I would say Cape Town for sure. If you've never been. Go to Cape Town. Go to Cape Town.
This list, babe, Marie, my wife, we're paying attention to this
Please.
list. We're paying attention to this list.
I will tell you every place to stay in all of those countries, all those places.
Oh, man. And last but not least, dead or alive, if you got to have dinner with one person, who would that be?
Man, that's such a hard one. Because there's so many fascinating times and things in history and everything.
Yes.
There's so many things.
You know, when I think about that question, too, like my immediate response is always like Michael Jordan, right?
Really?
But it's always
for you.
But it's not going to be Michael Jordan. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's going to be like
of
my
course.
grandma.
Oh, that's
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
But I just wanted to say that.
I saw her for a lot of years. I'm okay on that one. But
that's great.
But you know,
you want us to edit that out?
No, she's gone. She's gone. So it's all good. She won't see this. But I would say. Again, like opera. I love opera.
Yeah.
I love opera. It's still my first love. It's my greatest love. Honestly, it'd probably be like, again, sounds kind of cliche, but he was probably, I think, the most brilliant, prolific for his age composer, genius was Mozart. He was, you learn about this dude. You know, he died at like 33 or 28, something like that, and was just brilliant. Wow. So Mozart, or opera singer who was just, she put opera on the map as far as cultural and being star and elegant, and like you didn't have to know anything about opera, but you would go and hear the singer. She was the Rihanna, she was the like the Lady Gaga of that time for the world, not just opera, for the freaking world, and that was Maria Callas. Wow. And so those would be the two people.
Amazing. And that goes back to your number one love.
Yeah.
If that's where it is. That's amazing. Wow. We can't thank you enough, man.
Thank you.
I had
such
a
blast. It's been so much fun.
Such a blast. So much more. Actually, can you let people know, how do we get in touch with you? How can they follow you on socials? Give it up.
Yeah. Well, so obviously, if you're local, Sac region, you got to go at Fizz and Sac. You got to follow Fizz and Sac. We are doing so many cool things in our bar.
Amazing. Please
come to Fizz, see me, let us know, that how you found us and from you guys, and go to our website, fizzandsac.com, or if you're not local, go to fizzchampagneclub.com. Learn about our club. It's amazing. It's absolutely the best champagne club in the world. If you want to just dip your toes, you want to learn, do that. You're in the East Bay. Fizz Walnut Creek. We're Fizz everything. Fizz Walnut Creek, Fizz and Sac, Fizz Champagne Club. We're everywhere. You can find us super easy. And then my handle, you are so welcome to follow me. I post a lot of cool stuff from lots of travels, is Raymond James Irwin.
The best. The best. We can't thank you enough. And man, had a blast. Thank you all for joining. We are done. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Awesome.